Hey Moon Magic Super Souls, welcome to today's Moon Energy Update for the coming month. Tomorrow we have a new moon annular eclipse. This means that we are going to see a ring of fire, assuming that the horizons are clear enough of cloud and we can actually see into those horizons. And indeed, I think you have to be in Australia to get the best view. I'm sure this will be photographed well and we will all be able to see some element of it. The energy is profound. Eclipse season is very, very powerful. It's like a portal where we can really see how the past has led to the present, which means that in the present moment we can realign ourselves, our energy, our thoughts, our words, our deeds, our emotions as well, so that we can begin to shift and shape the future that we wish to create. So this is a very powerful time. An eclipse is always very powerful, but an annular eclipse is even more so, I think. It's got a different flavour. Part of the energy of it is that even though we have this sort of moment of shadow, which allows us to really almost sort of, I think, see between the worlds. It's like the veil is really thin, but it is ringed in light. It's surrounded, encompassed by a ring of light. So if you think of the symbolism of this, there really is, it's like a window to the soul, where we can see what we need to see in order to advance ourselves in the most appropriate way. This also coincides with the Chinese New Year. We are moving from the wood snake to the fire horse. So many of us, I think, have been noticing that we've been peeling back the layers. Things have resurfaced that maybe we didn't attend to enough, or we'd swept under the carpet or tried to sort of rub along with and it hasn't worked. Lots of things coming up for review, for reflection. This is the turning point where we shed, we release, we cleanse, and we welcome in a new energy so that we can move forwards with personal empowerment, with sovereignty. Saturn and Neptune are at 0 degrees of Aries, that magical 0 degree point. Saturn is edging closer and closer and closer to the meeting of Neptune and Saturn when they meet exactly. We're feeling that influence already. This is about the dissolution of the old and the restructuring of the new. And we can embrace this energy really consciously. So this is a monumentally powerful time. In a moment, I'm going to literally run through every moon phase, each of the moon phases. A moon month begins with a brand new moon. And that's the time when we set our wishes and intentions and we align our energy with a whole new beginning. It's like a new phase, a new cycle of growth and evolution. We can do this with every new moon. Then the moon moves through her phases, and each of the phases carries a very different energy. And we can really align with that energy. There are other factors that come into play. I have created a totally free webinar that you can check in on and watch if you would like to learn the sort of the key things you need to know if you want to align with the lunar energy, manifest with the moon. I'll put the link in the description box below. You can watch it to your heart's content, stream it to your heart's content, and it will teach you how to align, how to manifest with the moon effectively. So, epic turning point. We're in eclipse season. Things may happen suddenly, quickly, unexpectedly. We also have some huge void of course moons. Now, if you follow these videos every month, you'll know what a void of course is, or indeed go watch the free webinar. I'll tell you what the void of courses are, but the energy impact or the influence of a void of course is that when we are in what we call a void of course moon, the energy is very free-flowing. Now, this can feel liberating. Things can really move forwards. We can see massive leaps. But if you are really feeling like the world is moving too fast, you just wish you could anchor yourself, you could feel really out at sea. So it's not necessarily the best time to make really clear-cut decisions because things are changing. The energy is very free-flowing. It is great if you want to sort of jump on board and surf the waves. If something is working for you, that's amazing. But Yeah, it can feel a little bit overwhelming sometimes as well. I've certainly experienced both ends of that spectrum. I think it depends what's happening in the context of our own worlds. So it's really worthy of knowing when these huge, huge void of course periods are, and we have some really significant ones this moon month. So I'll bring those up onto the screen in a moment. Now, you may want to grab a pen and paper and make a note of these dates, or you may just want to bookmark the page and come back to this video. I'll put timestamps in the description and in a comment for you. So, and I'll put dates on them for the moon phases as well. So if you find you're having a bit of a wobble and you're wondering what's going on, or you feel absolutely exhilarated and you're interested in what's going on, come back to this video, check out the date that you're on, and have a look at the energy that's coming in at that moment in time. So, without further ado, let's move to that energy update and have a look at the different moon phases and the incoming energy throughout the entire month and those void of course periods. Now, every moon month begins with a new moon, as I mentioned a moment ago, and a moon month doesn't necessarily align with a calendar month. So this moon month is going to run through February and then into March. Now, these are the different moon phases that we're going to look at. You can see we begin a moon month with a new moon, followed by the waxing crescent, followed by the first quarter, the waxing gibbous, the full moon, the waning gibbous, the third quarter or last quarter, and then the waning crescent moon. Now, these are the void of course moon dates for February. On the 19th of February, when the moon moves from Pisces into Aries, we have a void of course that is 4 hours 17 minutes long. On the 21st, we have a much, much bigger one. This is when the moon is moving from Aries into Taurus, and this is 12 hours 20 minutes long. This is significant. On the 23rd of February, when the moon moves from Taurus into Gemini, we have another 4 hour 1 minute void. And then on the 25th of February, when the moon moves from Gemini into Cancer, we have a 6 hour 12 minute void. Personally, I tend to look at all the void of course moons from around 4.5 to 5 hours long onwards. Under that, they don't seem to have such a big impact, but nevertheless, I've noted the 4 hourly ones here as well. These are the March dates. Now, we have some really big ones here. On the 4th of March, when the moon moves from Virgo into Libra, we have a 4 hour 4 minute void of course. It's the 5th to the 7th of March. That is absolutely huge. This is when the moon moves from Libra into Scorpio, and it's 28 hours 40 minutes long. This is absolutely huge. So really be conscious of this, and I'll speak about it as we go through the different energies throughout the moon phases of the month. On the 9th of March, we have another one that's 4 hours 10 minutes long when the moon moves from Scorpio into Sagittarius. And then another very, very, very big one on the 11th to the 12th of March when the moon moves from Sagittarius into Capricorn. This is 18 hours 29 minutes long. It's these real big ones that I personally will be making a very, very, very clear note of. I will also try and put some posts here onto YouTube as well, just to give you a little nudge and a reminder of what's coming. So we begin our moon month with the new moon annular solar eclipse. This is on February the 17th or the 18th at 28 degrees 49 in Aquarius. Now the date will depend on where you are on our beautiful planet. It's really worth being conscious of the timings. In a moment, I'll bring some timings up for you, because if you are making wishes and setting intentions on the day of the new moon, you ideally need to make them at the point of the new moon, the exact point of conception. It's the sort of sacred union of the sun and the moon when they come together. And of course, this is eclipse season, so a very powerful time of karmic potential. An eclipse moon is said to open a portal that shows you a timeline between the past, the present, and the future. It's a bit like your dreams, which can also do the same. Your dreamscape is very much a timeline. We can connect to events that are potentially coming. We can also look back to the past. The purpose of all of this is to have an anchor point in the here and now, which is a very empowering space. You know, when we get to tomorrow, it will be now. Now is really all that we actually ever have in terms of our conscious influence, but that in turn shapes the future. Now, a new moon is a time of new beginnings when we set wishes and intentions and we sow seeds of all that we want to manifest. This new moon is dynamic, and it connects with a very strong energy of uncertainty and unpredictability, suggesting the potential for very unexpected happenings, and in quite practical, earthy areas of our lives. However, there is also a planetary collaboration that favours flowing communications that expand and bring benefit. So, if anything shows up today that's unexpected, trust that, rather like a dream, it's a form of communication that's arriving as guidance, and it may well be steering you in a particular direction to support your wishes and intentions. Now, these are the new moon global timings. The reason I bring them up, as I mentioned, is because it is really, really helpful if you set your wishes and intentions from the exact point of the new moon and for the 8 hours afterwards. This is the most potent time of the energy. The moon then enters her waxing crescent moon phase. This is running from February the 18th to the 23rd, and the moon will pass through Pisces, Aries and Taurus. Now, the waxing crescent moon phase is all about getting started, getting going and getting things off the ground. And the lunar energy is going to gradually and steadily grow, and this is going to add to the overall astrodynamics that are taking place already. And there's a lot happening at the moment. Now, this moon time really begins with a real flavour of karmic justice. And so with Saturn and Neptune inching closer and closer to their exact meeting point, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what unfolds. This will be both personally and on the global stage. The overall flow of lunar energy is then relatively steady. So even though big transformations and restructure are a central focus, use this time to be conscious of your own personal responses and reactions, as this will pay dividends during the more intense periods of astrodynamics. There is a lot going on. In the last couple of days of this moon phase, the moon's growing energy is going to add to some really quite strong, more heated dynamics. And this really is suggesting the potential for impulsive or erratic or unpredictable events, circumstances and responses. So remain grounded, observe before responding. We may see some intense and unpredictable things happening, but how we respond is always up to us. We have a choice. This is a year of self-mastery, of recognizing we can choose how we respond to external circumstances. And in turn, we then actually can exert a peaceful influence over what then emerges. So this is a really powerful time. And as we come to the end of this waxing crescent moon phase, it is really worth being aware of the energy. Now, these are the void of course moon dates that happen during this moon phase. And we have that biggie on the 21st of February. It starts at 11:11 a.m., which I think is quite interesting. The actual timings of that, 1111. This is when the moon moves from Aries into Taurus, and it's 12 hours, 20 minutes long. I personally am going to be very, very conscious of this timing, particularly given the additional intensity and unpredictability of the overall energy. The moon then reaches her first quarter position. This is on either February the 24th or the 25th, depending on where you are on our beautiful planet, and the moon will be in Gemini. Now, this moon invites you to look ahead, and the energy today is suggesting opportunities that will enable you to understand situations and perspectives from all sides, and to evaluate with an emphasis on finding positive and optimistic outcomes and solutions that honour justice, fairness, equality and balance. So this is a very, very powerful pocket of time. particularly given the intensity and unpredictability of the energy. I really would say seize this moment. If you can accommodate within your schedule some time and space to really just stand still and be the observer of your own experiences, I think it will pay you big time. Now, there's also an underlying karmic presence that brings a sense of destiny, suggesting that the opportunity to review, or perhaps the areas of our lives or the subjects that we're reviewing, may not actually be a surprise. It may almost feel as though the universe has been waiting for the best moment to kind of call us to account. And whether personally or globally, this is going to give us a window of opportunity to think ahead to the future that we wish to create and then plan accordingly. Now, we have a 6-hour, 12-minute void of course. 6 hours, I think, is significant, particularly given the energy today. The fact that a void of course is very free-flowing, and this follows this first quarter moon pocket of time, literally as the moon departs from Gemini and moves into Cancer, I think it's going to actually aid us in giving us the freedom and space to sort of let go of any limiting beliefs or blocks or things that might be stopping us from being able to really review realistically. So I personally see this void of course pocket of time in a very positive light, given the overall energetics of the day. Again, really, really worth making a note of it. The moon then moves into her waxing gibbous moon phase. Now this is from February the 25th through to March the 2nd, and the moon will pass through Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and into Virgo. Now during this moon time, the overall energy can kind of be divided into roughly two halves. The first half suggests significant intensity with the potential for emotions to run very high. And yet, despite the intensity, there is still a strong underlying flavour of possibility present. And although these possibilities could arise through maybe tensions or frustrations, the higher purpose is to support movement forwards. So even if this involves interruptions or diversions or situations that stretch you out of your comfort zone, try to be flexible. In the second part of the moon phase, the energy then levels out. And although the moon is still expanding and the lunar energy is expanding, it's much steadier. So in areas of your life that are naturally expanding, the first part of this moon time will help you to define any problems that you can then in the second half resolve and transform, ideally through reflection. What I will say, though, is if you experience tensions or frustrations and you simply cannot see how best to proceed, then if at all possible, just press the pause button and wait for the full moon to bring illumination and guidance before moving ahead. The full moon is a time when the way is often illuminated. The moon then reaches her fullest. This is a full moon total lunar eclipse. This is on March the 3rd or the 4th, depending on where you are on our beautiful planet in Virgo. Now, this full moon total eclipse is really fascinating, particularly given that we are now fully immersed in the epic transformation to upgrade and elevate the consciousness of humanity. And this moon invites you to think into the future through conscious awareness of the past. This is the essence of the high vibrational energy of the eclipse season. The planetary collaborations today are forming like a melting pot of possibility. And the energies that are available to tune in with and harness are a very profound mix. This moon brings the potential to observe and become aware of ourselves, of others, of situations, of circumstances. And then, from a deep, compassionate, perhaps even almost driven place within ourselves, work out how best to proceed and plan ahead. If there was ever a moon that favoured a day of complete stillness and meditation, if you're able to do this, then this is literally it. So, even if you have a packed or demanding day, try to make some time somewhere to get still and notice and observe and listen. Now, this full moon is followed by a 4-hour, 4-minute void of course period. Fascinating. 4-4 on the 4th of March. Isn't that mind-blowing? 4 hours, 4 minutes on the 4th of March. I think the numerology of this is quite extraordinary. So if you think of the fullness as illuminating things for you, there is then this pocket of time. It's not as big as some of the voids, but nevertheless, there's a real free-flowing energy as the moon sort of moves forwards and out of her fullest position. So I'm very curious to see what this is going to feel like. I think it might depend what's taking place and what we're shown, what is illuminated by the full moon. But nevertheless, I just think the numerology as well is remarkable. Now, these are the full moon timings, and you should be able to work out from this selection approximately the right time for you. The value in knowing the timing of a full moon is that it's like a kind of a breaking point. Sometimes it's the moment when you get clarity. You can sit and just be with the essence and the energy, however powerful it's feeling. And this is that breakthrough moment when the pathway ahead is illuminated, or that nugget of information you needed becomes clear. It's also an amazing point of release. If you're needing to let go of anything, then knowing this timing, you can align your ceremonies around the exact timings in order to let go of anything that no longer serves you or that may be blocking you. The moon then reaches her disseminating or waning gibbous moon phase. She will pass through Virgo, Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius, and this runs from March the 4th to the 10th. Now, the essence and energy of the full moon is going to linger for a couple of days. The kind of dynamics are the same and they remain. So as we enter this moon phase, if at all possible, continue to hold space for stillness, observation, listening and noticing. The energy then begins to flow. And even though Mercury will be in retrograde at this point in time, the overall dynamics of this moon time have a very gentle and yet meaningful flavour. So go with the flow and let the universe be your guide. And if any diversions or interruptions occur, then go with it. This is a pocket of time when letting the tide steer you rather than trying to hold a fixed course may prove, I think, to be the most productive and beneficial approach. Right at the end of this period, the moon does kind of lean into some particularly creative energy, so be conscious of this window of opportunity as well. And do you remember that when Mercury is in retrograde, the higher vibrational dynamic of a Mercury retrograde is to remind us to slow down and to enable us to reflect and to review. We are not actually necessarily supposed to be geared to sort of our goal-driven world. Let's get from A to B as fast as possible isn't really a natural way to live. It's how we tend to operate. It's often the pressure we place ourselves under. But actually taking your time, slowing down, taking the windy road rather than the straight one can really be of profound benefit. And I think this particular moon phase really encompasses this energy in a really big way. And indeed with profound opportunity for creativity. Now, we have two void of course moon dates during this period. One is the absolutely huge one. This is when the moon is moving from Libra into Scorpio between the 5th and the 7th of March. This is the 28 hours and 40 minutes void of course period. Really, really be conscious of this. This to me just adds to that element of taking your time. Be an observer of your own experience. Be a witness to yourself and all that is going on around you, because this could aid your creativity. It could aid that creative flow of information to arrive as needed, indeed for things to be reviewed in order to clear the way. There's so much that may happen during this particular moon time, but I think in a really positive way. We have a second void of course for 4 hours 10 minutes on the 9th of March as well, when the moon moves from Scorpio into Sagittarius. The moon then reaches her last quarter position. This is on March the 11th, and the moon will be in Sagittarius. We also have a huge void of course period of 18 hours 29 minutes when the moon moves from Sagittarius into Capricorn. This is between the 11th and 12th of March. Now, given the fairly laid back, what I will call go with the flow feel of the previous moon phase, this moon time brings a slightly more intense energy. However, the energy is actually in perfect attunement with the very essence of everything that a last quarter moon is actually traditionally associated with. This energy invites you to evaluate from the inside out, and through internal reflection and evaluation, then align your thoughts and your words and your actions with your true values so you can step up and walk your talk. So in areas of your world that are going well, this could feel like a pocket of validation or consolidation. However, if you are navigating some big stuff, after all, our world is in a process of profound accelerated growth, then try to make some time for internal reflection. Remember, the Mercury retrograde energy is with us. Do some personal journaling and try to assess and evaluate from the perspective of your own personal choices and empowerment what you can do to navigate with conscious awareness. This really is a pocket of time to think about, am I walking my talk? Am I being the change I wish to see in the world? And as I said, we have an 18-hour, 29-minute void of course pocket of time. So this could really accelerate your potential to, in many ways, step into your fullest potential in exactly this way, with full awareness, your own sovereignty through awareness. The moon then moves into her balsamic or waning crescent moon phase. This is from March the 12th to the 18th, and she will pass through Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Now, the energy of this moon phase suggests some very powerful dynamics of drive, impetus, busyness, and activity. And I will say, not always without friction, but sometimes friction gives us traction. But there's a real strong flavour of fate and destiny thrown into the mix as well. So don't be surprised if events and circumstances bring things to light that require or even demand your attention. And if you do find yourself having to respond, then try to align with the lunar influence. The lunar energy is bringing a much more slow and steady wins the race kind of flavour. This last moon time is a lot more gentle. So given the dynamics, it could really help to soften your approach. This is really inviting a mindful, spiritually centered approach to find solutions that create new systems and new perspectives that can bring about long-term sustainable possibilities. So very interesting. I think this is a moon time when overall there's a lot going on, a lot of dynamic, powerful, almost quite pushy energy. But the moon can really soften this, and I think this could be really valuable for us and help us to not exactly smooth things over, but help us to navigate choppy waters at a more gentle pace. Rather than being reactive, we can be responsive, and I think the lunar energy will support us in this. We then begin a brand new moon month, and this begins with a new moon in Pisces. This will be on March the 18th or the 19th, depending on where you are on our beautiful planet. And I will be doing another moon month energy update then, so watch this space. And beautiful souls, on the day of the new moon, I will be doing a collective tarot reading here on YouTube. It's a live event. We've done a couple now. The last one was just before the last new moon, and it was mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. Thank you so much, all of you who were able to join me. I will be reading cards for the collective, and I will be inviting you to read your own cards, draw your cards alongside me to gain personal information for yourselves. It was an incredible experience last time, and we're going to try and do this monthly. And this next month is going to be on the actual day of the new moon. So remarkable, powerful, exciting, and I so look forward to seeing some of you there. So, Moon Magic Super Souls, thank you so much for joining me for today's energy update, looking at the month ahead. And it's such an honour to connect with all of you. I'm going to set forth and go and do my new moon readings now, which I will be uploading and posting tomorrow. So, thank you so, so much for being a part of this amazing community. I'm really, really honoured to be connected with you all. Tons and tons of love to you all.